Okay, so just watched the Broly trailer. I know you've seen it, like the new Broly trailer, the one that they dropped at, I'm guessing, New York Comic Con.
No, okay,
Oh, where,
so
where,
this
where
is
was this dropped? First of
this
all,
is so funny.
Okay.
So this got leaked.
the file with subs, or is
No.
this thing? Okay, so
No,
you
the
just,
sub the sum is
the sub was
is
done by Reddit. Gotcha.
yeah. Herms actually, who works for Konzenshu. What happened
Oh,
was,
cool.
so this was going to go live at New York Comic Con, and everyone was super excited. Not like it was being hinted at that there was going to be a trailer there, but it wasn't flat out said. But everyone knew it was coming.
Right.
And I actually knew one or two people who like knew what was in the trailer. So spoilers. And what had happened was early this morning, at about 5 in the morning,
Okay.
I got a text from somebody saying, "Yo, the trailer just leaked."
Oh, shit.
But I woke up at 9, so I was late to that party, way late. And so I ended up, giving it a watch at 9. Then went back to sleep. Woke up at 11. I go to bed late. So I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it subtitled. And
By the time this movie comes out, do you think that you will have watched this trailer more than you will have than the movie will have runtime?
maybe.
Because I am going to just say this flat out. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, I know. And it looks beautiful for a lot of different reasons.
Even the CGI stuff that they show in it with like Frieza's ships and stuff like that. Also, I love that they fly around in a formation. That's really cool to me.
Yeah.
Even those that they look much more, how do I say, Arc System works than they do PlayStation 2 Dragon Ball Budokai.
One of the problems I find with the CG, and this is something that I think a lot of anime studios are still trying to get their handle on, is that while the CG itself doesn't look bad, and it really doesn't, it's competent CG, it doesn't mesh with the world. It feels like you have this 2D world, and then you have these hyper-realistic looking 3D ships flying around, and that's kind of disorienting because...
But I think that line is getting thinner and thinner as to how jarring that is. I mean... Compare this to any CG in the 90s.
Well, yeah, but if they wanted to actually make it look somewhat more... if they wanted to go for something a little bit more homogenous, then they probably would have used cell shading. They don't do cell shading with the ships, and yet everything else is cell shaded. And that's the thing that's kind of disorienting. You expect...
I mean, there's that one shot, there's this, crane shot that's, kind of panning up over Frieza, that you can kind of tell parts of him are CGI in that thing when they're coming through the shadows that are being rendered.
Actually, funny enough, in that whole trailer, there wasn't a single use of CG on any of the characters.
Are you sure? Wow,
Yeah.
then that, I don't know. That was just really interesting animation then. Something looked uncanny on it.
Well, one of the other things that this movie does, and this, so AJ, who actually does a bunch of fantastic reviews on the animation for Dragon Ball.
Anime AJ, link in the description, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to plug his stuff more because he'll go more in depth about
Maybe
why
we'll
this
get
trailer...
a card right. Where's the? It's above your head.
Yeah.
Cards will pop up over there.
Yeah, there'll be a card. There'll be a card. He's incredibly talented, and he can talk to you about why this movie looks beautiful. But from my perspective, this does what no other Dragon Ball movie has done maybe ever. I mean, I think maybe Path to Power did some of this, but it
Is it retconning Goku as a baby?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Let's talk about the positives first before we go into any of the possible negatives, because there are one or two things here that kind of don't mesh well. They use color in this. In this trailer alone, you see that they use color in beautiful, amazing ways. The composite, the compositing here, like the shading on the colors, and that scene where Frieza's come to the Saiyan planet and he's like, "You shall now work for us," is drenched in this beautiful pink, which is very indicative of Frieza's color.
Because he is not wearing any clothes throughout this entire trailer. That boy is a nudist.
Yeah, so let's talk about... So a couple characters get redesigns from what people are familiar with. And let's talk about Frieza, because his design here is actually different. It's not just a different color either. Like, the color of his upper half is now all pink.
He's not wearing any armor. I don't think I've ever seen him without it outside of his, bigger forms.
Here's the thing. You've seen him without any armor on because he wasn't wearing armor when he fought Vegeta.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he explodes his armor and then
I thought he had an under armor for some reason. I don't know. My brain.
That's because what his body looked like in the anime. Now it's kind of confusing on what his color looks like in the manga, but
because it's black and white.
Yeah, I mean there's a color segment. I actually have not I should really read through the colored segments of that part to see if it meshes with the manga.
Right.
Because the manga, the colored manga, sticks true to the manga colors.
Of course.
It's great. But yeah, he loses
Everybody knows Bulma's got purple hair, Trunks has blue.
So he loses those things on his arms, the shoulders.
pauldrons.
Yeah, it's really neat, and honestly, I like the design. Like, then again, I've always been a fan of that design of Frieza. Like, his first and final forms are easily the best designs of Frieza.
Yeah, meanwhile, King Cold perpetually stuck in second.
Yeah, and by the way, King Cold is in here.
He is. Shows up in that first scene where they're enslaving Vegeta. I mean, I don't know where that falls in the timeline of the movie, but...
Yeah, it's really cool just to see King Cold back, and the Ginyu Force, and, like, Zarbon Dodoria. Like, all these characters are back.
I wonder how much of this movie takes place in the past, because they are all... Like, do you think it's just going to be the first scene, or...
I think a good third of the movie is going to actually take place in the past.
That's crazy. This is either going to be a long movie as far as Dragon Ball movies
Hour 40.
go, or hour 40.
Yes, we have... the preview screenings have all measured out to an hour and 40.
Wow.
Yeah, which is the longest theatrical release of a Dragon Ball movie. Not the longest Dragon Ball movie, because I believe Battle of Gods had like a extended version.
Maybe.
And the extended version is about an hour 50 something.
Oh, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
no,
but yeah, no, it's gonna be one of the longest movies. And it's got a lot of backstory to tell. Apparently, the original draft was 3 hours.
Phew, that... Wow, could you imagine 2 Broly movies, like, sitting here just being like, oh, man. They could have probably done a prequel movie and a Broly movie if that's the case.
You know, I don't know how I would have felt about them doing, say, like, a trilogy, but...
The words Broly trilogy does not harbor good feelings in many fans.
Well, you know what also doesn't harbor a lot of great feelings for me as a fan?
Float the term that you've been talking about on Twitter a lot. Is that Dragon Ball Minus?
It's Dragon Ball Minus.
Is that why Goku is like 5 years old in the pod saying like, no, Mom, no, Dad, don't leave me?
So here's a cute little thing. The manga never shows Goku as a baby.
Okay, so all the flashbacks in Dragon Ball with
Papa Gohan finding him? Yeah, that's Toei Animation being Toei.
Okay, so that's them filling in the blanks, saying like, we're not going to go back to that planet, and then they eventually did.
Yeah, so as it turns out...
They retcon an entire huge chunk of what I've always considered canon.
Yeah, they retconned a lot of stuff. Like, the entire Bardock special is now... is 100% everything that happened in the Bardock special cannot have happened in Dragon Ball Minus. Yeah, which is weird because in the Dragon Ball manga itself, it takes a scene from the Bardock special and presents it as fact from Frieza's perspective. So it's interesting.
Can we just claim this because Trunks did a time boom?
Yeah, yes, the time boom.
He messed with the timeline too much and it shifted, and then Zamos messed with it even more. And you know what? Here's what's happening now.
Yeah. So as it turns out, Bardock. So if we've talked a little bit about this last time. Actually, we talked way too much about it last time, but Bardock's kind of a nicer guy. You're gonna meet Goku's mom, Gine. And the story of how Goku fled the planet is now vastly different. Yeah.
It's not just Superman. This baby needs to get out there. It's get in there, son. You going fucking Earth.
No, it's super Superman now, because the original
Dragon Ball Superman.
Yeah, in the original, Goku was just sent out to go destroy a planet. Landed on the planet. Was a violent child. Bumped his head. Then he's a good guy. In this one, Bardock discovers that Frieza's gonna probably blow up the planet. He feels like something's wrong, so he sends Goku out with Gine. You see it in this.
Yeah. There's a shot of both of them in front of the pod, and Goku be like, ah.
By the way, everybody, like, there was questions like, is Bardock really in this? And I'm like, yes, Bardock's in this. Like, there is a scene with Bardock in the original trailer, in the first trailer.
In the first trailer. Well, that's just a gauntlet, and that's like whether or not that is Bardock's gauntlet. It is still just a gauntlet.
Yeah.
But in this one, you see his face.
Yeah. But
he talks a lot.
And it was that shot that they show in the first trailer is directly from
Dragon Ball Minus.
So
yes, there are parallels there, but...
Yeah, but beyond that, this trailer really is just a bunch of... Like, it's basically telling you, hey, so everything you know about the Saiyan history, yeah, well, it's either about to be flipped on its head, or you're about to learn a lot more. And that's interesting because Minus never got made into an anime, so if they were going to do it, the Broly movie's actually not a bad place to do it. Because
it involves the Saiyans.
yeah, what I am going to assume is going to happen in the plot proper this time, instead of Vegeta stabbing Broly and then Broly miraculously surviving and then taking his father in a energy bubble away from the planet, which literally makes absolutely no sense and was stupid.
Broly's
then.
just really strong, man, especially
right?
as a baby.
What happens, what I believe is going to happen is that they recognize that Broly is powerful.
So they're going to send him away. It's like, look, we don't want him to be a part of this genocide.
Yeah, we don't want him to be a part. Well, specifically, I think that either because as we see in the trailer, Vegeta talks about his son, the genius, or specifically, like he's going to be amazing. He's my elite son, my special son, which
my baby boy.
Yeah, his baby boy, and which is really neat to see Papa Vegeta get all like, oh yes, my darling son, my wonderful son, because we never get to see anything of
We
King
never
Vegeta.
get to see King Vegeta except for sitting in the throne and shooting people and being like, nah, things are cool, fam.
Yeah, and he's not in the manga at all. Like, there's none of him. So first, we also got a slight redesign of him in this trailer already, which
I like his more trimmed out goatee.
yeah, and I also like his what he wears. It's very royal. The other thing that we see is that the thing that I think is going to happen is that they check out Broly, find out, oh shit, he's actually really strong, stronger than my son. I'll send him to a frontier planet, and we'll never have to worry about him again. And Paragus decides, no, that's bullshit. I'm not letting that happen. Takes his son, escapes the planet, and the next thing we know, they end up on an alien planet, stranded for the next 30 years.
Okay. I have an alternate theory.
Yeah.
Well, this that theory may very well be true,
Wait.
and ties into my theory,
Actually,
which
it's
is
like 40-something years, but yeah.
yeah. But anyway, they all three of those babies are born somewhere in a relative timeline, despite the fact that I believe Vegeta's supposed to be the age, about 5 or 6 years older than Goku, something like that.
The only thing the manga...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Broly gets born around the same time as Goku, and report gets to Frieza, hey, this kid's power level is fucking nuts. That prophecy thing about the Super Saiyans, might want to take a little heed of that. Frieza's just like, if this is going to be an issue, I'll talk to Beerus, and then that's why Beerus okays the destruction, because they see this fucking kid with this absurd power level. It's like, okay, we're going to destroy the planet, and then maybe your theory happens at the same time. Circumstances be damned, Bardock discovers the plot, boom. What my big question is, I mean, obviously they get stranded on a planet, and they're like, well, fuck this, we're going to figure out how to do this. What? They're alive. And they will... The part that I am most curious about, and that I am so happy that they have not given any information on, is Broly on Earth.
Yeah.
They have not really given any information on it. Maybe they have.
I'm pretty sure I know what happens. So that frontier planet they get sent off to?
Sure.
Frieza's looking to expand his reach again and build back.
Oh,
his
you
army.
think they run into him?
Yeah. What I think, because they've introduced 2 new characters already. Chiley and I forget what
the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. I can't remember what his name is. He has that little beanie on. I think we see him maybe once in this trailer.
They're like Frieza techs.
Yeah. And you have to wonder, okay, what purpose do they have in this movie? And I believe what happens is they are scouting this planet that's supposed to have life on it, but it all disappeared. And so when they get there, they find Paragus and Broly, who have wiped out all of the planet's inhabitants and have been living in secret. And
just space hermits.
Yeah. And so they're like, wait, you're Saiyans? We need to bring you back to Frieza. And then that's why Frieza is working with Broly. And that's why, that contraption that he has around his neck that's supposed to be the new...
power dampener or whatever.
Yeah, that's the new control device made by Frieza Tech to control Broly.
Well, all this hearsay... I mean, I'm excited for this.
Oh, yeah.
I was not nearly as excited for Res F as I am for this.
Well, Resurrection F was bringing back Frieza, which I still say to this day was a mistake in terms of, you did not need to bring back Frieza. However, that has opened up a bunch of other cool stuff. So now that it's happened...
Post Dragon Ball Super Frieza being back that's neat.
Yeah.
Initially coming back,
Yeah, no, that was like, okay, sure, bring back your biggest villain because
Again, I hate harping on this, but my biggest problem with Res F has always been the lack of tension.
Yeah.
There is no tension in that movie.
But regardless, a lot of us did not see Resurrection F as a movie that was going to be all that exciting to begin with. This one, on the other hand, and this is funny considering that, again, we don't like Broly
As a character, we don't like the Broly that was given to us previously. I mean, I enjoyed Legendary Super Saiyan.
Yeah, well, no.
But what they did afterwards just...
Yeah, it's Broly's legacy that has really dampened him. But here, we have the opportunity to tell an actually good story, and you can still keep the part of the character of Broly, who's this big, giant powerhouse, and give him necessary depth to make it, like, not just, oh, he's, a big wall of, a sentient wall of spite and power.
Do you think anybody in the movie is going to say, hey, it's like that Kale girl?
If nobody points out Kale, I'm actually going to be a little disappointed. I think that would be hilarious.
Well,
but then again, I'm the guy who coined the term male Kale, so...
Are you?
Yeah. It wasn't floating around before I started saying it.
Well, you heard it here first. Kaiser's taking credit for that one.
Yep, and if you came up with it before me, well, I didn't
prove
see
it.
Yeah, it's like, one, I didn't see it, and two, prove it, bitch. No, but I will say this. This is going to be the best Dragon Ball movie we've ever gotten. If what we've seen...
man. Battle of Gods is really fucking good.
If what we've seen so far is indicative of its overall quality.
All right. Well, I can't disagree. I'm really excited to see it. I'm more excited to see it than I am to see the next Star Wars movie, and that's saying something coming from me.
Yeah. I mean, then again, you're less in the camp of people who enjoyed Last Jedi. So.
That's a whole other ball of wax. I didn't hate that movie, but man, do I have issues with it.
I loved that movie, and I've got a lot of issues with it.
But what do you think of The Last Jedi? That's the important thing.
Please tell us in the comments.
What do you think of the trailer? Let us know down there. Believe it or not, we do actually read them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here. By the way, just as another quick talking point, Season 4 coming. Probably not until 2020. I know there will be an announcement video about that, but
yeah,
I feel like more people will click on this one. Season 4 is coming, but for the rest of this year and probably most of 2019, what is going to happen is epilogue with Trunks going to the future.
Yep.
Bojack, Kai 3, and I want to do something with the Otherworld tournament. Don't kill me.
Yeah. I think actually the biggest question here is when Broly 2.
Goodbye, everybody.